I was outside all day. How could you not be outside?
I definitely wish I was. I had a quiz that
You have a computer you could have done. You could have done it outside.
Yes, but I was actually traveling home today. I don't know if you could tell.
What time did you get here?
I got here at 4:45, and then I played basketball until 5:30 and walked here. So
Okay.
I spent a good amount of time outside, too.
How far is the drive from Naperville, by the way? If you don't mind me asking.
No. I mean, why would I mind? 2 hours, 10 minutes, 2 hours, 15. But if you, since I've done it 100 times.
100 hours, 50?
That's if you're going way too fast. It's like 2 hours flat for me.
That's not bad.
My mom wouldn't like to hear that, though.
I'm 3 hours, so you got to lay up
even
on
if
me.
you drive fast, you're 3.
Yeah, it's 3 hours.
It's kind of tough. That's a lot. I mean, 2 hours. For me, I was in the car with my friend Zoe because she's from my hometown. We went together today. We were just this doesn't even feel like a drive anymore. It literally felt like an hour, maybe 45 minutes. I feel like 3 hours, though, is pretty significant.
If you're with a person you like, you can just have a conversation. I mean,
just listen to music.
I take the bus like an idiot every time, and it stinks.
See, I have to take the bus unless I have a friend to drive me, and usually I do because I have 2 friends with cars here that are from my high school.
You should bring a car next year.
I would, dude, believe me. I wish I could, and I was actually going to, but my little sister decided to actually get her license, so unfortunately I won't be able to.
Well, then, I don't know what to tell you, man. Peoria Charter till you're a senior?
Probably. I mean, next year. I mean, it's not hard to find a ride. There are people from every suburb going here, so.
That's true. That's fair. By the way, I'm rich now.
Oh, that's right.
I got paid $110 in cash. Some guy tried to steal my money. He texted the group chat, Carson, you won, text me. And this other guy texted him, pretending to be me. But I got the $110.
What Carson's referring to is he won his bracket challenge, everyone. He didn't make any black market money or anything.
Well, speak for yourself. But no, I picked Baylor to win the title. That was one of the most impressive national title performances I've ever seen.
It's one of the best teams ever.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we're going to get to it in about 30 minutes, but that was very impressive.
But a boring tournament. I'm serious.
It was. The women's tournament was a lot better. I don't know if you watched it at all.
I watched a little. I watched Stanford.
I watched the Elite Eight and on.
But Sweet 16, Elite 8 for the NCAA tournament men's was horrible.
All right, we'll get to the tournament in a little bit, but we're going to start with a little bit of news. I mean, every Illini fan that cares about basketball really saw it coming, but today, Ayo Dosunmu, junior guard for Illinois, went on the jump on ESPN wearing a suit, all decked out, and he declared for the NBA draft. He's a projected first-round pick. Everyone saw this coming. Carson had a very famous quote the last time we were on here together. He said, if Ayo, said I want to come back, I'd be like, hey, brother, it's time for you to go. So I'm happy he's gone. I think that Ayo's going to make a couple $1 million, be a first-round draft pick, develop with a good team, go late first round. I like that for him. So now it's officially, because he's hiring an agent, so it's officially U of I basketball post Ayo Dosunmu era, which is kind of weird to think about.
And honestly, if we can replace Adam Miller with a good transfer guard, or I heard it's possible Miller actually comes back if he can't find another suitor, we're going to be fine next year.
Even without Miller, I think if Ty Washington commits, and then maybe even one transfer, I mean, we can talk about Payne, the Florida big that came in, but if Kofi does come back, Illinois is going to be just fine.
If Kofi's gone, we're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, that's your bubble team right there.
Yeah, maybe. You're replacing 17 points a game, dominant rebounder. I mean, we're screwed if he's gone. We would be 2017, 2018 Illinois maybe. But
with a better coach.
With a better coach. But, I think Kofi's coming back. I think he understands that there's not really a market for him right now. Brad can develop him into a better player. He needs to invest in himself and come back. Ayo, fantastic guy.
Great guy, A-plus guy.
Retire his number or honor it in the rafters. It was time for him to leave. It was disappointing with the finish against Sister Jean, but where he picked up the program is ridiculous. I mean, you got to give Kofi credit for how much he improved it too, but Ayo really was the catalyst for us becoming a contender.
Kofi was more important for coming back, I'd argue, obviously this year, but also last year, just because you need a big. But just look what Ayo Dosunmu did for the program. He turned a non-popular program that Brad Underwood called a diamond in the rough into a one-seed Big Ten champion that coulda, woulda, shoulda made the Final Four.
And just the way he did it, let's screw junior year. Let's talk about a sophomore year. I mean,
for sure,
we were 9-5. We lose to Missouri. I mean, we could have easily just crumbled and gone to the NIT or qualified for the NIT. But he makes those game-winning shots against Michigan, the dagger against Wisconsin. The way the guy could just take control of the final 2 minutes of a game is what gave this program hype.
And now, Brad Underwood's still a young coach, and this team was, I don't know, not as experienced as like a Baylor or something. So I'm not going to say that those close games against Northwestern, Nebraska, anything were, or even Ohio were good. But every single time you had Ayo and you knew he was going to pull through, bad teams with not sensational players lose those games. And Ayo Dosunmu kept us above, alive, winning for 3 years, basically.
Did you watch the Brad Underwood press conference from Monday?
I did not. I'm not on the back. I don't have the link, and I don't want to hear what he says.
I watched about 10 minutes of it. You can tell he's disappointed, and he knows the source of the problem. The problem was we didn't have the juice against Loyola. But then he goes on to say, like, well, I have no idea why that is. Like, he doesn't, I think Brad has a problem with getting Illinois ready for every single opponent, every single game.
He does.
Let's look at when we were freshmen. So last year. Miami. Why are we down by 27 points? Michigan State. Why are we down by 20 points? Why are we missing 16 free throws against Michigan State this year? Like, we got smacked by Michigan State. Loyola, just thoroughly outplayed. Like, I think Brad knows the situation, but I think he needs to realize that some of this is on him.
And that comes with coaching. Now, I know he's been coaching for 27 years or whatever. And, like, he is 4 years in, but that's a very weird year. Like, look at Leonard Hamilton in Florida State. It took him 8 seasons just for him to get them to the tournament. Now they're in the tournament every single year. It takes time, but, like, yes,
The thing is, Brad is a young, old coach. Like, that's the thing. He's kind of a late bloomer when it comes to Division I basketball. Like, Leonard Hamilton was like a 40-year-old guy. Brad's like 57, 56. Like, how many more years does Brad really have? Do you see Brad Underwood coaching Illinois as an 80-year-old? Like,
no. I think he's, mid-50s?
I think he's like 56. I could see him going to like 65.
65, 70, yeah.
Maybe. I don't see 70. That's a long time. That means he was here for maybe. Who knows?
How old is Roy?
Roy's 70, but he started off really young, and he was making Final Fours and national titles.
Yeah, no.
And Roy's Roy. For every Roy, that's the thing.
I actually don't think Roy's a good coach, but whatever.
You can make an argument.
That can be a topic for another time. Maybe next week we'll talk about all the firings and stuff. I don't think Roy's a good coach, but back to Illinois. Yeah, listen, Ayo's gone, but what does that make for next year? Balance.
I think, dude, we watched the Michigan game. We watched the Wisconsin game. Like, we were A-okay without Ayo.
Miller helped.
Miller helped, but Miller was incredibly inconsistent last year, and obviously he's got a problem with not having the spotlight on him. Did you read the text? There was a text that got leaked. It was from a source that knew Adam Miller, and it was the mom kind of controls Adam. She has it's similar to Alan Griffin. And Ayo got 10 tickets to Indianapolis. Adam Miller only got 4. He always felt constantly disrespected. We didn't think he was going to come to Illinois because he didn't want to play with Ayo. And then he committed because everybody thought Ayo was going to the NBA. And then COVID happened and Ayo came back. I don't think Miller was expecting to share the team with Ayo Dosunmu this year. And I just think overall, it was always kind of I know he's an in-state kid, but I remember talking to my buddy, Bussin, and we always thought he's going to Arizona State. He's going to Louisville. And now those are the kind of schools he's looking at.
Brendan and I sat on here on Thursday and talked, and my point was that, excuse me, I didn't think it was a good move. I didn't understand it too well. Brendan said he understood it fully, and he expected that Adam leaving.
I'm not shocked with 2020 hindsight, but I didn't see it coming at first.
I've always had a weird theory. I don't know if I ever told you that. It's one of my weird theories that I probably did keep to myself, so there's no evidence, but I always had a little feeling Matt Miller was going to transfer. I really did.
I think you're telling yourself that.
No.
It makes sense.
The one person I did say it to was my dad back in January, right before he went back for break, and he was like, "You're crazy. Why on earth would he leave?" I swear that happened.
Yeah.
We call it Mr. Pietsch.
Call it Mr. Pietsch. I got time. No.
Call in, Dad, if you're listening.
It's not surprising. It just, you heard Brad Underwood. He said in today's day of basketball, this does not surprise me.
No.
He is not shocked that a 4-star that didn't get enough love from the team wants to transfer.
Another thing I heard, did you hear about the ticket thing?
The ticket, yeah.
For Ayo's the 13, yeah.
No crap, Ayo got more tickets. He's your star alpha male point guard, and Miller, you're a freshman. He made Brad, that was the promise. DeMonte goes to the bench, Adam starts every game. Adam got whatever he wanted. He played starter minutes. What didn't he like? He didn't get to have the ball enough in his hands. Like he just didn't get the media love.
He got as many touches as anyone.
Dude,
him passing the ball has nothing to do with coaching.
If he played as well as he did in his opener, his first 2 games, I don't think we're having this conversation.
Of course not. But
he struggled
28 points was unbelievable.
Yeah, and then he started only scoring like 2 points a game.
Well,
and
not
then
2. It was like 7.
Dude, there was games you go scoreless, dude. That guy could not make a 3.
I know.
And I don't know. I just feel like with him, it was just a lost cause with him. Everything had to go perfect for Adam. And it's possible that he comes back. It's low, but there's a chance he has to come back.
The way people reacted, do you really think he's going to come back?
Hey, okay, where is he going to go? Is he really going to go to Michigan? You think he's going to be the alpha male in Michigan?
Well, Gonzaga's also a spot, and then like DePaul.
You want to go to DePaul and win 8 games? You think you're going to go to the NBA from DePaul?
Do you think if you go to Gonzaga, you're going to get any touches? I mean, they have more star power than Illinois does.
He's going to have a similar situation. He would have to go to an Arizona State and Louisville. Those are the 2 schools. If he doesn't go to either of those 2, I see him back at Illinois. Do you really what? Is he going to go to Syracuse? Is he going to follow his buddy Griffin? No.
Give me what % do you think he comes back?
25. Not even. I lowered 10, 15.
Yeah.
There's a chance, but I like the reason why I would take him back. He's a fantastic defensive player when it comes to recovery. And he showed really good flashes against Loyola. I think he's very talented. Like he's a very raw player. But I don't think we need him if we can replace him with a viable transfer from like a veteran transfer.
I mean, the talent's there. Obviously, it's just like
I'd rather have Curbelo. I think
I'd definitely rather have Curbelo and Kofi for sure.
Like those 2 are like Steve Nash and Kobe. I mean, not Steve Nash. I mean Shaq and Kobe.
Yeah, well, Kobe
or Nash. Who did Nash used to dish to? Yeah, there we go. That's perfect. It's perfect. That's literally what it is. I like
Kofi's got to come back first.
Oh, he is.
Don't get too confident, my guy.
No, the Pope's Catholic. I mean, like he's coming back. It's a lock.
I'm gonna hold you to that. You heard it now, folks. Carson says it's a lock.
Folks, wear your mask. No,
wear a mask. Get vaccinated.
Do your part.
All right, Joe.
I'm Joe Biden.
Uncle Joe.
So I don't know. I'm pretty confident that Kofi's going to run it back. Like, dude, Brad has a track record. I mean, look at what happened to Ayo because he came back. He went from 28 to 41% 3-pointer, got bigger, and now he's going to be a borderline first-round pick, early second. I mean, he wasn't going to get that last year.
It's true. I think Kofi could be a first-round pick if he stays. He could be a National Player of the Year contender if he stays.
But
for heck's sake,
who's the top dog in the Big Ten next year? Is it going to be Michigan?
Apparently, it's Purdue. Did you see?
What the heck?
What the heck? You saw the rankings on ESPN?
All right, they got that really good guy from South Bend. I forget what his name is. Travion
Williams.
Yes, Travion Williams. He's good. I mean, they got talent. Painter is a great coach.
Oh, Death Taxes and Matt Painter, man.
Like, dude, okay,
he's not a good tournament coach, though.
Okay, what's your definition of a good tournament coach?
You gotta
make Final Four?
No, beat teams, beat at least one team every few appearances.
He does that.
No, Carson.
Go. You go, then I go.
That is a higher seed than you. This is why I rip on someone like Roy Williams, or I used to rip on Bill Self, or dare I say it, Illini fans, Lou Henson. You have to beat teams that are a higher seed than you at least once or twice to be considered a good coach. Matt Painter just doesn't really do that. But I love Matt Painter, which is weird for me to say. I'll say this.
He makes the Sweet 16 a lot recently. I know this year was a dud, but he made the Elite 8 in
Maybe
2019.
he has, and I'm missing something about Painter.
Okay, well, you can make the argument because he's usually a 4 seed. Somehow Purdue usually sneaks in a 4 seed. Okay, so usually they beat the 13, they beat the 5.
Because he does a lot with not a lot of talent.
And then the 1 smacks him. Like, that's what usually happens.
Is that what happens with
Look, 2017 lost to Kansas in the Sweet 16.
They got plummeted in that game,
They got plummeted. 2016, they lost to Chris Beard's Little Rock, Arkansas team.
Yes, and that's I remember that. That's when my dad, his former student, was the point guard of that team.
Was he really?
Yes, he went to ISU, transferred to a small Texas school, then came to Purdue as a 5th year, and he was their starting point guard all year, and they lost to Little Rock, and he was crying after the game.
Yeah, that was
never forget.
That was a blown game by Purdue.
Johnny Hill, my old basketball coach. And then this year they lose to
North Texas.
the Mean Green.
Dude, literally, I'm less shocked by Oral Roberts than I am with North Texas. That just came out of nowhere. Like, nobody was hyping up Purdue, North Texas. Nobody. That's just, like, very strange.
That was the biggest. I mean, like, so, like, everyone was like, oh, Ohio's going to beat Virginia. Oral Roberts was picked by Lenardi. No one thought Purdue was going to lose that.
It just kind of flew under the radar.
They have a good coach over there. They game planned against Williams.
Why the heck did Creighton have to win? That made me mad.
I wanted them to win. I took them.
Well, good for you. I took Santa Barbara, and they should have won.
For you.
I think they lost by 1.
They did. They said it was a controversial call. The Creighton guy definitely got fouled. It wasn't even close.
Frustrating. But NCAA tournament's over. First weekend, absolutely fantastic. Bunch of fun upsets. But then the problem was, in Big Ten country, we had to root for Michigan.
I wasn't rooting for Michigan.
You weren't? I was.
I was rooting for UCLA.
Do you think Michigan could have beat Gonzaga? I think
no.
Very possible. They slow him down. No?
No.
If Simpson was playing, maybe. But Simpson wasn't playing, so we can't.
Xavier Simpson? The little point guard that you're talking about Isaiah Livers.
I keep mixing those guys. I meant Livers. I mean, if Livers was playing, I mean, maybe. But Gonzaga, they're gonna be right back where they were this next year. I mean, they're gonna start.
They might get the 7-1 Minnesota kid. What's his name?
They got
Holmgren.
They are gonna get him. They're getting him.
Are there crystal ball picks in? Am I missing something?
I just know the word on the street is he's going to Spokane. Like, they're going to be very, very decent next year, Gonzaga. They're national title favorites again.
UCLA is number 2.
UCLA's good.
Johnny Juzang, is he staying?
Yeah.
Dude, if Johnny Juzang stays, that'd be electric. He's awesome. He's so fun to watch.
He's fun. Dude, UCLA was making their shots. I mean, that was a game they could have won.
For sure.
They had it in their grasp. It was just they lost on a midcourt shot.
Yeah. And there was the controversial charge call, of course, because everything's a charge in college basketball.
I'm so proud of Baylor, man. I'm proud to be a Bear.
We're talking about Baylor in a little bit.
I know. I just want to say real quick, I'm proud to be a Bear.
All right, back to Illinois.
They would have destroyed Ayo,
We can't seem to stay on Illinois. Ty Washington's got to come, or Amari Burnett. I think Burnett's going to Alabama, though. So if Ty comes in and Kofi stays,
we're chilling.
Do they need another transfer wing or something, or are we chilling?
To, like, replace Trent?
Because then your starting lineup goes Curbelo, Luke Goody, Melendez, Hutcherson, and Kofi, and then Payne, Grandison, Ty Washington. Who else off the bench? I'm definitely missing Georgie if he stays.
I think DeMonte might stay.
DeMonte could, and we're missing some guard.
Benji, that kid's a
Benjamin Bozeman's Verdonk.
He could be good.
He could be good. I agree.
And then Tyler Underwood can come back because of COVID.
It would be nice to have one more wing. Maybe we'll land one of these guys.
I think we're going to be pretty decent next year. It's all based on Kofi. I think Benji has fantastic size. He looks like a star basketball player. He really just hasn't gotten the minutes since his first game in his freshman year.
Thank God Melendez committed. What wings do we actually have? Sure you can say DeMonte and Grandison, but like scoring wings, Goody, Melendez.
I know. Like, that is.
Am I forgetting someone? Like Miller would just help so much, in my eyes.
Miller is obviously. I mean, dude, we wanted him really bad in high school. I mean, he was a borderline 5-star guy. He was freaking amazing in his first couple games. Like, I was saying, he was better than Ayo, talent wise, just raw talent.
Raw talent, he might. I was bigger, taller, and longer.
He's taller, but it's just like Adam just has the look.
He played defense too, man.
No, I know. He could recover, man. Like, he didn't get embarrassed too often defensively. Ayo did against Loyola.
For sure.
Backdoor. Kofi got kind of smacked. Curbelo's getting his pockets picked.
Life after Adam and Ayo. We're going to... weird to think about, but it's inevitable unless Adam Miller comes back. All right, we're going to take a break. As Carson is dying to do, we're going to talk about that Baylor-Gonzaga game. Carson, you're $110 richer, so congratulations.
Thank you.
Even though 10 of that goes to me.
Nope.
Baylor-Gonzaga recap. That is next on Illini Drive. Welcome back into Illini Drive. Last night's game definitely wasn't as good as the second semifinal game, that awesome Gonzaga-UCLA game. In my opinion, the best basketball game I've probably ever seen. But Gonzaga I mean, they didn't play well last night, but I don't even know what they did wrong. Baylor, a very good game. They really demolished them. They're national champions. Congrats to Scott Drew, Davion Mitchell. I've never seen anything like you before. Carson, you picked Baylor to win from the beginning.
Yes.
Give me some analysis.
Well, I love their guard play, and they play very fast. I remember watching them against Illinois, and they did a phenomenal job of making people frustrated. They crashed down on the bags. They're able to pick pockets, and they're able to replicate that against the Gonzaga Bulldogs. And the issue for Gonzaga is, against a really good team like that, you cannot get down 11-1 right away. And then combine that with Baylor, which just honestly just made all their three-pointers in the beginning. And they just really didn't have a chance from the start. Now, that takes nothing away from Gonzaga. They had one of the most efficient offenses of the season. I just honestly believe that people really fell asleep on this Baylor team because they lost at Kansas.
And
they lost to Cade Cunningham in the Big Ten.
Coming off of COVID.
And that's what people don't understand is how meaningless the Big 12 conference titles really are. If you look at the history, Roy Williams never won a conference title and a national championship in the same year.
Nothing about Roy Williams.
Coach K does not win the national title in the conference tournament in the same season. Virginia with Tony Bennett, they lost their conference title. It's nice to lose sometimes and just reset. And this Baylor team came out fresh, and they were a point away against Arkansas from winning every single tournament game by double digits and completely dominating. And honestly, Scott Drew is just top 2 coach in all of college basketball.
Who?
Scott Drew.
Top 2?
Top 2.
Who's number 1?
Yeah, I got to give it to K.
Coach K?
Yeah.
We're not talking about coaches right now, but I would strongly disagree with that. I think Coach K's gotten far away from defense the last.
Who's the top coach? Really quick. I'm actually curious. Who do you think?
In my
Jay
mind?
Wright?
No, it's not Jay Wright. Jay Wright's top. I'll give you my top 5. Scott Drew, Jay Wright, Tony Bennett.
Oh, Bennett.
Chris
I love
Beard.
Bennett. I cannot wait to see Beard.
And
no Big Ten love? I don't think Izzo's a top coach.
Maybe Tom Izzo. Yeah, for sure.
I think Izzo's a good motivator, but when it comes to that, I don't know. Something's missing with him. I don't think Michigan State will ever win another national
I like Painter
title.
a lot. I really like Bill Self. I think he's done a really good job the last few years.
Calipari's overrated.
Mick Cronin's a great coach. I mean, come on. I think Roy Williams stinks, though. All right, back to the game, though. I mean, I got very big 2018 Villanova vibes from that end of that run by Baylor. I mean, they're very guard heavy. They dominated. They really didn't have a close game, at all, right?
No,
I mean, Arkansas, they won by 9, I believe.
And they were up by 17 for a while.
It really wasn't close. They dominated Houston in the Final Four the way Villanova, I believe, dominated Kansas in the Final Four that year. Guard heavy, go against a team with a big guy and just dominate them. Like I said, Jared Butler was first-team All-American, and he was the most outstanding player, and I also would have given it to him. But Davion Mitchell is probably the best two-way player in college basketball, and I've never seen anything like him before. Between the defense and the explosiveness, and every single one of them hits their threes.
Was good.
Mazio Teague hits his threes. Jared Butler hits his threes. Davion Mitchell hits his threes. Who's that one fourth guard, the fourth piece? He's a junior, another transfer. I don't know. Their guard play is insane, and then they have Thamba or something.
Thamba was not even that good.
He didn't play well, but he plays very good defense. The white guy, Meyer, he plays very good defense. Man? Yes, man. And then one more guy, he can't shoot threes at all, but inside he's a monster. They don't score inside.
And they were making their shots. Inside. Gonzaga was panicked. They went man-to-man, got burned, and then they went zone, and Baylor was still making their shots.
Well, I think that's something that we learned from this is Corey Kispert, not a first-team All-American.
No.
Drew Timme had a bad game. He should have played better.
Suggs was efficient offensively.
Awesome.
That's the thing. I'm not saying, oh, Gonzaga, you stink. You're in the West Coast Conference.
They're very good.
It's honestly, Baylor is just that good. I mean, Gonzaga cut it to 10 at halftime, and I was kind of crapping my pants. I was like, Gonzaga's got a chance. And Baylor was walking in the locker room with their heads down.
Well, that's why it shows, because Gonzaga played a very bad half and Baylor played a perfect half, and Baylor was only up 10. You felt you're kicking yourself if you're Baylor because you should be up more. But they just kept it up. What'd they win by 16? They won both halves.
Yeah, because they came right out of the second half and pushed that lead right back up to 19.
Defense helps? Defense wins championships?
That's the thing. Gonzaga, if you look at who Gonzaga played Power 5 this year, 88 to Iowa, West Virginia scored high 80s, Kansas scored 90. Tournament game, they usually gave up 80 to Oklahoma or something. I mean, this was a team that was susceptible defensively, And they were just able
sure.
to outscore people. Like Ken Pom would be like loved Gonzaga's defense compared to Baylor and other programs. Well, that's because honestly, like I'm not taking away their offense, but their competition, they weren't exactly facing the 1995 Bulls in the West Coast Conference.
What I said to my dad last night, my dad's watched a lot of basketball, I respect his opinion. I said Gonzaga is just an advanced Iowa. It's exactly what they are.
Honestly, that's a very good take.
I also said, I remember I was texting my group chat yesterday, like after the first 5-10 minutes, I said, apparently Gonzaga didn't think defense was an important, thing to bring to this national championship game. But in reality, that's who they are. They played well against USC on defense, but USC doesn't have a point guard. Everyone else, they were allowing points. UCLA, they allowed a lot of points. Look at Campbell. UCLA's point guard.
UCLA scored 51 against Michigan, beat one, just battled one out against Alabama, and then UCLA was just scoring at will against Gonzaga.
UCLA, they're an advanced Iowa.
Yeah, people were saying UCLA, you got to hold this below 75 points if you want a chance. And then they scored 90 and almost won.
I think that someone said the other day, maybe it was like Bussy or someone on Twitter, it was just like, defense doesn't win championships, not having an offense wins championships. Gonzaga has probably the best offense I've ever seen, and they couldn't win a national championship because they didn't play defense.
And just the way Baylor's able to frustrate them and just can bobble. Like, dude, they were getting rebounds too. I mean, they just weren't as tough as Baylor.
Scott Drew's a weird guy, but man, can he coach defense?
Why is he weird?
Did you hear him last night? He's definitely a little bit.
He's a little old school, like dad Valparaiso coach, kind of probably traditional. But
he's quirky.
When he came to Baylor, what an awful one tournament in 50 years. And he goes in that press conference like, oh, yeah, we're going to win a national title someday here.
But that was in 2003, right?
2003. His first 4 years, his losing seasons. And then slowly but surely, he just starts making round of 32s. Then he makes Sweet 16s. This is their first Final Four since 1950.
I know.
I don't think Baylor's going to be the next, blue blood. I think this was just a great year, but they're honestly going to be a player in college basketball for the next 20 years.
Do we know if Butler's going pro?
We don't know.
Do we know if Mitchell's going pro? Macy O.T. could be the only guy they lose.
I think they'll probably lose at least one more of those guards.
All of them transferred. Why would they leave?
I don't know. Their stock's high. That's the thing. I mean, you really can't top what they did.
Where are you going? Besides the NBA, where are you going?
No, the NBA, obviously.
Mitchell and Butler might stay. If they run it back, that could be the best team in NCAA history. But then again, the best team doesn't win in college basketball. That's
Not
what
always.
Makes March Madness so great.
I would say Baylor was the best team this year.
Yes, for sure.
I mean, no, this was one of the first years, 100%. Virginia was not the best team 2 years ago.
Villanova was the best team in 2018 for sure.
I'll agree, but 2019, Duke was the best team.
Huh?
Duke was the best team in 2019. That Zion team, they were the best team, and they didn't win it.
Yeah.
UConn 2014, was that really the best team?
2017, North Carolina was the best team.
I really liked Gonzaga.
That 2017 North Carolina team, they had the big guys.
They had Johnson down low.
You can't coach offensive rebounding. I mean, they just offensive rebounded at will.
They could have lost to Gonzaga. I mean, Gonzaga.
Because Roy Williams isn't a good coach. Whoop-de-doo. You won the national championship with the two best bigs in the game. Give me a break. Yeah, do it again. I don't care. Look at we're talking about it. Look at Roy Williams' championship teams.
Dude, I don't love Roy. I mean, yeah, I know. He beat Bruce Weber. La-di-da. He beat...
He brewed Bruce Weber with 4 of the top 14 picks in the draft in 2006. Then you go to 2009. Do you know who was on that team?
Everyone.
Tyler
Hansbrough.
Ty Lawson. Danny Green was their 4th leading scorer.
No, that team was insane. And then the next year they made the NIT. And that Michigan State team was just crusty. I mean, they had...
Michigan State's known for that, though.
No, I know. That was I was at that game, by the way. Cool. It was in Detroit.
Oh, yeah. For those that don't know, Carson was
I was a diehard Michigan State fan. Parents went there. My dad took me out of school. He drove me up to the Ford Field, and I was so excited. Michigan State took a 3-2 lead after Gordon Sutton's 3, and then we got outscored by
a million. That was in 09
you're
talking, right?
Huh? 09.
The national championship game?
National championship. I was there.
It gave me very Duke Michigan State vibes in 2015. The Final Four when Valentine went up that was a great Final Four when Wisconsin beat Kentucky and then Duke beat Wisconsin.
Duke won by 20. Oh, I'm just saying the individual game against Michigan State. Yeah. They were so outclassed against Okafor.
Sure. That was a bad Michigan State team. Your best player is Denzel Valentine. He wasn't that good.
That Duke team is super underrated.
Jaleel Okafor, Justice Winslow.
Who's that point guard?
Tyus Jones.
Grayson Allen was off the bench.
Man, that was a team.
Duke has not been the same since.
Because Coach K got away from defense.
Ta-da!
Don't give me one of those. Don't
What?
do that.
It's just frustrating because like these one and dones, it's like they keep trying to do it, but no. Look what wins.
Basketball's changing.
Basketball's changing. You want veteran guards.
Villanova, Michigan, Texas Tech,
You name it.
Baylor.
Yep.
Hopefully Illinois kind of soon.
Not gonna happen.
Michigan State. Wisconsin was really good for a while because of this.
Wisconsin is fine. They're a cute program, but like the way like Jay Wright's able to build Villanova, the way Scott Drew's able to build Baylor, like they're not getting ones and dones because it's not sustainable. And especially we've seen this year with COVID when these freshmen weren't able to get a full expertise of Coach K and Calipari, they really struggled. They were terrible this year.
Yeah.
They're going to be good again next year, though. Duke is going to be good next year. They're top 5.
I wonder if UCLA is going to go back to a one-and-done school. Mick Cronin's a good coach.
That's interesting. I don't think Mick Cronin
I don't think he's a one-and-done coach.
Exactly. I was about to say that. Like, he's not a Calipari. He's not a snake oil salesman. He's a good old bald man from the Midwest that, like, just knows the game of basketball.
Yeah.
I just think it's funny. Like, he's at Cincinnati, cannot get past the round of 32, wins 30 games every year. And then he goes to UCLA and makes the Final Four. Such a strange hire, but it paid off.
Johnny Juzang, my guy.
UCLA's a tough job, though. They'll fire you quick.
What was all first team? Juzang, Suggs, Timmy, Mitchell, and Butler?
I didn't make for. Oh, you talking about first team all tournament?
Yeah.
I didn't check it out.
It definitely was. By the way, before we go to break, did you see the stat last night? How many teams from Texas have ever won the national championship? Including Baylor.
Longhorns never. Oh, UTEP won because they beat Kentucky.
Texas Western. Yeah.
I know, but now they're UTEP.
Only 2. That's it.
Yeah. Texas is
weird?
the biggest sleeping giant. I mean, Chris Beard should be able to win 2 national titles in his tenure.
Oh, he will.
Like, dude, that guy's insane. Plug and play, dude.
It's the most, if football and basketball, it's the most high pressure job, probably for sure. Football,
I don't think
basketball's
as high pressure because they're so busy with like.
Shaka Smart just won a Big 12 title and got basically forced out.
One Big 12 tournament, and dude, that was his 4th straight round of 64 loss. It was time for him to go.
That is true. Marquette's gonna be good.
He'll be fine.
Coach was.
Oh, Wojo? Yeah, not a fan. You know, you just can't replace Buzz Williams. Buzz was good. Texas, like Chris Beard takes over Little Rock, Arkansas, goes from like 15 to 30 wins, goes to Texas Tech, gets into a 10 seconds away from a national championship in 3 years.
He should have. You guard DeAndre Hunter, you win a national championship. And that wasn't Beard either. His player got lost.
That was awful. I was rooting for Texas Tech hard because I didn't think Virginia deserved to be there.
I remember where I was. It was my friend. It was.
You have friends?
Yeah, it was this guy that gets paid to hang out with me. It was February 8th, 2019, because that's my friend John's birthday in 2 days from now. And all of us were rooting for Texas Tech in the basement, and John had money on it or something. He lost, but
Texas Tech was hot, man. They schooled Michigan State.
That was a great game. That was the same day Auburn should have beaten Virginia.
You know, one of his top recruits just followed him to Texas.
I'm sorry?
One of his top recruits, I don't know his name, just
Terrence Shannon?
I think so. Follow him to Texas.
He's transferring. Do you know the Terrence Shannon, Illinois story?
No.
Sorry, we're getting so off topic, but Terrence Shannon came here on a visit, and his dad told Piper he was recruiting, and then the next day he changed his mind because of mom, then went to Texas Tech. Yeah. Illinois runs into a lot. No,
I'm not saying he's trained. No, this was a high school recruit that committed to Texas Tech,
right?
And he's following him to Texas.
Texas is going to be good, man. I like Chris Beard.
Texas is back, folks.
He did go to Texas. Beard.
That's why no one can really be mad. You can't be mad about this. And he said it was the toughest decision of his life, but in all seriousness, why? Why was it that tough?
Because he was winning at Texas Tech.
I know, but if you win at Texas Tech, you're going to win at Texas.
Hopefully.
There's
a lot of pressure there.
I'm very confident that Chris Beard's the man for the Longhorns.
I agree. All right, we're going to take a break. Baylor Bears national champions. When we get back, finally get to talk about some baseball. That is next on Illini Drive. Welcome back to Illini Drive. Baseball is starting up. The Cubs are 3-1 currently playing against the Brewers. The White Sox, I believe, are 2-3. Carson
2-3. They're 2-3 right now. Favorites tonight with Giolito on the mound, trying to get to 3-3.
All right, they're probably going to go to 3-3. Cubs currently. Adbert Alzolay on the mound, the 5th starter. He's been in the minors, a little bit of the majors the last year and a half-ish, but it's his time to stay up. Alec Mills is no longer a starter. He actually got a save last night against Milwaukee, the same team he threw his no-hitter against last year, so he currently has 10 straight innings of no-hit ball against them. Kind of cool. Carson, let's start with the Sox, because I feel like both starts are a little surprising. Sox kind of a little less surprising, but a lot of close games.
A lot of close. I watched the majority of the games.
Same.
First game, bullpen blew it. Second game, bats came alive. Third game, bullpen blew it. In the fourth game, they were lucky that they were even in it. They scored 4 runs, all unearned. They scored 3 runs on drop third strikes, another one on an error. They really just didn't have the horses to compete with the Angels. The Angels have a fantastic lineup. I feel like they got enough power. Pujols shows enough pop when he needs to. And when you got Mike Trout, just such a scary presence at the plate. I think the Angels are actually a pretty good team, even without their pitching staff.
Yeah, they're good.
It's just one of those series that's tough. I'm really not worried. If they went 0-4, I'd be like, okay. But the fact is, they could have gone 3-1, and now they get the Mariners, they get the Royals. They'll be 9-5 pretty soon.
I think they're all right. I'm going to say what I said to you over the break, just as far as... So the Cubs, when they won the World Series in 2016, they also started their season in Los Angeles at the Angels, and they won. And something about the 2015, but mostly the 2016 Cubs team, is that they were good hitters. They had the MVP Bryant, Rizzo had a good year, but their batting average wasn't anything insane. I would be a little surprised if they were top 5, maybe even top 10. But the two things that Cubs team did insanely well, and a lot of World Series teams have this quality, they walked all the time, and they're one of the best defensive teams I've ever seen, and one of the best ever. And that's what it takes to win a World Series, is defense and good on-base percentage. And first glance at the Sox, obviously things can change, and things probably will change. They don't walk, and their defense is awful.
I'll say that's what's kind of crazy. This just got brought up to me. The 2005 White Sox had 0 300 hitters, but they had great pitching, good fielding with Juan Uribe. It was pretty similar to the Chicago Cubs, because it's not all like, cool, you hit a single. But the fact is, if you can get a pitcher to throw walks, get his pitch count up, that is just such a desirable trait.
It is.
I mean, you don't even have to swing your bat and you're on first base. So, yeah, but that's the thing.
And it raises the pitch count.
Tim Anderson bats 330, and his on-base percentage is 350. That's atrocious. Abreu's never been a big walker. The Sox are swingers. Like, they want to hit. They want to hit for runs. But that can come back to bite them.
Because it also keeps pitchers in games, right? It's low pitch counts.
Low pitch counts. The Sox are fine. They got the bats. Like, Eloy's gone. Not a big deal. But honestly, the bullpen has been alarming so far to begin the year.
Hendricks will be fine.
Hendricks
Bummer
is fine.
will be fine.
It's scary.
Who's the dude that gave up the homer to Walsh?
Cut. No. Who?
He would. Yeah.
I know. I watched. Dude, I
can't believe he gave up a homer. That'd
it was sickening. Walsh. I think it was Walsh's second. Yeah. It was just, honestly, it was a tough series, but they got the Mariners, they got the Royals, they got to just pick up.
Ooh, Cubs just went down 3-0 through on.
What, did Yelich hit one?
No, Yelich got a single. They were first and third one out.
Dude, Yelich was schooled yesterday.
He was.
3 Ks.
Williams made his debut, had his number. We're not talking about the Cubs yet. Keep talking about the Sox.
The Sox are going to be fine. Like, honestly, that Yerman Mercedes, just what an unbelievable start. What a feel-good story. 28-year-old guy goes 8 for 8 to begin. I mean, he's smacking singles. I think Eden's the trouble. Eden is a defensive liability. He's had a lot of struggles in right field, misplaying the ball. He doesn't really have an arm. It's going to be difficult with the fielding. Fielding's a problem. The Sox gave up 7 unearned runs against the Los Angeles Angels. Like, you're not going to win. I used to always poo-poo because defense. Because I remember, like, I was a huge Moneyball kid. That's my favorite movie. I remember Brad Pitt was like, he didn't care that Scott Hatterberg couldn't field. What does he do? He gets on base. But, like, with the Sox, just a little antidote, like 7 earned on runs, like not being able to catch pop flies. Like, fielding is important because it extends innings. And then if pitchers lose confidence, it rattles them. You got to make the sure play.
You really do.
And that's what the White Sox, like, they need to fix that defense.
They lack
like, no
now.
questions asked. Their defense is horrible.
And
right
Eloy's
now.
no better of a fielder, by the way.
Eloy cost them the Brewers game. Eloy last year, there was an easy pop fly in left field. He missed it.
Wasn't
fell
like
into the
inside
fence.
The park homer.
And it inside the park home run, Brewers win. The Sox ended up being one game out of first place. So I mean, like, defense matters.
It really does matter.
And I didn't understand that until, I hate to say it, like 72 hours ago.
Little late, but hopefully La Russa gets it under control.
La Russa is fine.
Good manager.
La Russa's done nothing wrong so far.
I agree.
It's just unlucky. I mean, your relief pitchers throw the ball too high, and your outfielders can't catch a ball.
I agree. He'll be all right.
Yeah.
Talk about the Cubbies now. They lose the first game of the year. Look awful with Hendricks. Hendricks just had a bad start, but you couldn't hit the ball. Look bad, and then they come back with Arrieta, who belongs as a Cub, pitching great. Then you have Zach Davies, pitches great, and Trevor Williams starting against the Brewers, pitches great. Cubs are 3-1. They're hitting the ball not as much as I'd like. Their defense is fine because the Cubs are always going to be good at defense. David Ross, good job with the bullpen so far. They're not going to stay this good. I mean, the Brewers aren't that good, and the Pirates are a AAA team. But they do have the Pirates for 3 next after this. So if you take 1 out of the next 2 against the Brewers, then 2 out of the next 3 against the Pirates, or sweep them, Cubs are going to be in first place, not for long. But
the best team in baseball loses 60 times a year.
Yep.
And, I mean, that's the thing. It's not the big thing with baseball is don't get that 5-game losing streak often. Just win 2 out of 3. The White Sox last year were 18-2 against the Royals and the Tigers.
Beat up on bad teams.
And that's what it is. I mean, with the beauty of baseball is when you're in a division, you get to play them each 19 times. Like,
yeah.
You
like when the Yankees would destroy the Orioles.
When the Orioles were bad and they destroyed the Blue Jays. I mean, the Cubs this year win 15 out of 4 against the Pirates. Like that, do it. Split against the Cardinals, and then I don't know. That's just how you got to think in baseball.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of paths in baseball. Alzolay just got out of the inning. Good job, kid, but 3 runs isn't good. There's a lot of paths to baseball to be good when you're not that good. Like, look at the A's last year. If that team wasn't that good, they just beat the team they're supposed to in a bad division. You get the 2 seed. Like, would I put money on the Cubs to win the division? I don't know. Maybe not. I'd probably put money on them to get a wild card, though.
I don't like the Brewers.
Because they're still in this stupid 8-game format, aren't they?
What are you talking about?
There's the MLB. Remember how 8 teams made the playoffs?
Are they keeping that?
They better not be.
No, I'm pretty sure it's back to normal. I think it's the 2 wild cards playing game to get into the NLDS.
The only dumb rule that stayed was that second base runner, no outs in the 10th. I hate that.
That's not baseball.
That's not baseball.
Are you rushing that much? You really have to have a guy on first base?
I loved the DH in the NFL and the NL. I loved it.
Exactly, because
I loved it.
That's the thing with pitching. Like, oh, you like to talk about old school like strategy. Like, oh, is Joe Madden gonna pull Lester, or something? Who cares? I mean, it's usually an out every time. Like, don't you want to put in an extra bat?
Something else I do like is the minimum 3 batter rule. I like that. Get your pitchers in there.
I'm torn because again, you could also make the argument baseball's about strategy. Like, there's a lefty on there. Let me put in my lefty, and then I'm going to take him out. It forces a pitcher's hand. I mean, it's advantage hitters.
It makes for a lot of fun.
It does. I got no problem. Like, I don't know how I actually feel, but I go back and forth. But honestly, it's just leveling the playing field. It's just making it the manager's not able to be as like petty.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah. Around the rest of the league, I think the Orioles are the best team in baseball or something like that. That's kind of
maybe
cool.
record wise, but. Dude, the Boston Red Sox are going to be in the midst of a nice, long rebuild.
Are they?
Well, I mean, like, it's just tough. Like, yeah, you lose Mookie a couple years ago. Chris Sale's not the arm he used to be.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, who would have thought? I mean, the Red Sox 2 years ago, one of the greatest MLB teams of all time in modern history. Went 108 games, beat everybody 4-1, and just went right downhill. Corey gets fired. Core's back, but it's not the same team.
It's definitely not the same team. I mean, Sales still hurt, which obviously really hurts, and you still have good pieces like Martinez, Benintendi, Bogarts, but something's just different there. I don't know what it is, but
Yankees. I don't think the Yankees have the juice to win the World Series. I really think it's Dodgers Padres collision course.
What's the Yankees lineup starting rotation looking like? They got Cole still. Is J.A. Happ still over there?
Pretty sure.
Is Paxton still there?
Couldn't tell you.
I don't think Tanaka's there anymore.
I like Cole, but is a pitcher really worth $300 million?
That's a great question. Not everyday guy.
Cole's good and everything. Like, he throws a 2.5 ERA and strikes you out, but $300 million. I mean, I'd pay Mike Trout $300 million because he's playing 140 games.
He gets $400 million.
$400 million, or you know what I mean. Just like those kind of players like deserve $300 million.
Lindor, well-deserved contract with the Mets.
Yeah, honestly. And it's nuts how much they make, but it's private cash. But
I think you're onto something, Carson, with this pitcher thing. Does a pitcher that pitches every 5 days really deserve that much money? How important is it?
And what's Cole's track record? I mean, he was good with the Pirates. He was a 2.7 ERA guy, but it just I think a bigger problem with pitching is like these pitchers are pitching 5-6 innings. You need a bullpen for 3 innings. That's what's important.
You really do. Bullpens are so important.
But there is, the famous correlation. There's a huge correlation between ERA and World Series champs. Like you got to have the pitching, but it's more than just one starting pitcher. I just feel like you're losing out so much if you're paying one guy that much.
Speaking of relief pitchers, I'm sorry I have to say it. Craig Kimbrell's had an awesome start.
Kimbrell has had an awesome start. I've been tuning in the Cubs games at the end of it, and I'm hoping that he blows the games, and he's not. He was awful during spring training.
Yeah, usually it takes him like last year and the year before. It took him like a while to get into it. Now he didn't have spring training the year before or really last year, so that makes some sense. But even though he had the awful, for like spring training this year, he looks midseason form. He looks fantastic. Good. Now, yes, it was against the Pirates, but those are still major league hitters. I mean,
they're major league hitters. You got that thing in baseball. Like, okay, if the Yankees play, say, the worst team in baseball 7 times, I mean, okay, sure, they win in a sweep, but what are the scores of those games usually?
Right,
5-3.
They still score
5-2. 1-0. Like it's not like teams get blown out 11-0 every game. It just happens that you just don't make enough plays.
For sure.
And then the losses just add up.
Yeah. I mean, anyone can beat anyone on any given day. Like the Orioles' 5th best pitcher could beat Garrett Cole 1 out of every 5 times. It happens.
That's why I hate the 1-game wild card. I despise it because it always seems that we get a 98 winner having to play like a random 87 game winner.
You're speaking the 2018 Cubs right now against the Rockies. That's literally what happened. Second best team in the NL.
How is that fair? That's the thing. Like baseball's prided on a long regular season, a long haul,
and to a 1-game wild card.
And then you throw it for. I think I'd get rid of it. I don't like it. I'd rather just have one wild. Honestly, I'm not kidding. I'd rather have one wild card and they get to play a best out of 5 season.
That's how it used to be.
It's how it used to be until 2012, and I loved it.
Or you could just do a little 3-game series, maybe make it 2. I don't know.
That's not fair because then they burn out all their pitchers. Like first of all, I don't like divisions because I don't think it should be based on region. Like I don't think it's fair that like the Oakland A's used to win 100 games every year and get a wild card, and then the AL Central has an 88 game winner and they get home field advantage. That's just a flaw with baseball.
Well, the biggest flaw with baseball before was winning the All-Star game at the World Series because that screwed over the Cubs. Now then again, the Cubs wouldn't have won the World Series if they had home field advantage. But
usually, no, it's ridiculous why the Cardinals, who had 82 wins, had home field advantage.
Yeah, it's disgusting, but like it happens.
Yeah. Well, they got rid of it. Bud Selig wanted people to watch the All-Star game. That was the whole thing.
People still try in the All-Star game.
Baseball's the best All-Star game because it's not like football. You can get hurt, so people don't really try as hard. Basketball, they just don't feel like playing defense. Baseball, it's like, what? Throw the ball. Hit. Don't you want to hit?
There's no throwing 80 miles an hour. Like
no.
One inning of work's not going to kill you. Like that's why the hitters have little to no risk. The pitchers, 1 inning, boom. You're not going to hit people 1 inning in.
Baseball All-Star Game's fantastic.
It is fantastic.
Bussy brought up a point that the All-Star Game this year in Colorado for the Home Run Derby, they should use metal bats. And honestly, if there's a year to do it, since it's probably not going to be able to be sold out and the fans can be socially distanced, you fence off both of the corners, have people like in the stands a little spread out, and like you got to know, like, hey, if you go to this Home Run Derby, you better be watching every pitch. But dude, those balls, like when Otana hit that 116-mile-per-hour ball.
What'd you call him?
What did I say?
Shohei Ohtani. You said Otana.
I said Otani.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did. I'll bet you $10. Double or nothing. Slim chickens.
Sure, we can check the recording after this.
Check it, man. But what was I gonna say? That ball would go 150 miles per hour with a metal bat.
For sure.
You would kill a grandma if that was a foul ball.
Could.
So block off the corners. Let's give them some aluminum bats, and let's watch the best home run derby in the history of mankind.
That could be a lot of fun. I wish when is Wrigley Field going to get an All-Star game? Do you know when Wrigley had the last All-Star game? When 1990.
90?
Yeah.
Sox even got one in 03.
It's been 31 years for the Cubs. Let's get a move on here, MLB.
They honestly should. It's renovated. Chicago's a great city. Well, this would be the worst year to get an All-Star game.
Yeah.
Wait till 22, 23.
I do like they got out of Georgia. What was it, the voting laws?
It was the voting laws. And they were like, yeah, that was it. They used the power.
The
Economic decisions are powerful.
The MLB doesn't like that Georgia made it harder for African Americans to vote.
Did you know Atlanta's going to lose $100 million?
I don't like Rob Manfred, but this move I can justify. Rob Manfred's kind of a clown. Castellanos getting those games for celebrating.
Sheesh. Economic decisions are the most powerful form of punishment.
All right. I think that's going to do it for today.
Thanks for having me, man.
Of course. Carson's the full-time Tuesday man now, so everyone knows. So Tuesdays, Carson and Josh.
Gordito.
It'll be a good time. All right, that's going to do it. This has been Carson and Josh on WPGU 107.1. Have a good night, everyone.